Welcome to Goshen Prepping. Thank you for joining us. I always recommend you do not bug out unless your life depends on it. And even if you do bug out, you want to look for a specific place to go to. And we're not talking about necessarily evacuation, but if you truly have to do like the bugging out, the way people picture it, where you're going out in the wilderness, you have to survive, there are certain things you must know how to do. And I find there are 5 mistakes that people who don't know how to backpack and such will often make when they make their bug out bag. I certainly don't want you to make these mistakes, so stick through all 5 points. Let's go into it. Number 1, be mindful of how much you pack. You have to worry about both space and weight. There's only so many things you can carry. And when it comes to weight, we're talking about maybe 20% of your body weight. And if you're not in shape, if you haven't been practicing with this, even 20% is going to be rough. You may have to seriously consider carrying that much weight and taking breaks every half mile as you bug out. So with that, you really need to stress only the essentials, only the things you absolutely need, and understand that both of those things in space and weight will add up very quickly. The second mistake people make is they don't test out their gear ahead of time. I'll admit, having lots of fun gear for your backpack is fun and adventurous. I love having gear, but if you don't use it, if you don't know how to use it, you do not want to wait until that day to find out. Often you'll find you don't even have all the stuff you need to actually make that gear work. A lot of people will simply get the gear, pack it away in case that happens, and find out they're in trouble when that time does come. But even better, when you test out that gear, it'll tell you what else you'll need, and of course you'll become very accustomed to using the gear, making it more second nature. Number 3, you need to make room for your personal first aid kit, or PFAC. In your bag, you need to have a very conspicuous place to put this, and you need to let the people in your team know where it's at. Because if you go down and you need, like, for example, a tourniquet, your friends are not going to give you their tourniquet. I mean, they might, but probably not. You want to make sure you have it there. And that way, if somebody goes down and you have to use first aid on them, you want to use their tourniquet on them. So you always want to have your personal first aid kit in a place that's very clear, very well marked, and easy for your friends to grab, not necessarily you. Number 4, you have to know how to pack the backpack. First off, when we talk about heavy items, they should go toward your back and toward the bottom. It'll seriously help you distribute the weight and not break your back as you hike along. And the essential items you put into what we call the attic. The attic at the top, maybe GPS, maybe a snack, maybe a map, maybe a radio. Or if your backpack has a front pack, sometimes you can put an additional front pack on too. That should be stuff you need for a quick grab. And lastly, keep this in mind, never pack things outside your backpack, especially if we're talking about bugging out. Any type of extra move may actually make noises, slapping across the backpack. You want to be quiet as possible, but that's not the point. What you want to do is keep the backpack completely free as you happen to maybe walk through brush. You don't want to snag on stuff, slow you down, or even worse, have it break off and you'll lose that item. Now, you seriously need to consider food options. And when it comes to food, you only have so much space and you only have so much weight in the backpack. So canned food, that would be nice, but it's heavy and it's not the easiest thing to carry around. Freeze-dried foods are absolutely great. Of course, you'll have to have a supplier. They're kind of pricey, but since they are so lightweight, you can pack a lot of them in there and they're smaller than normal and you can feed yourself quite a while on freeze-dried foods. But since they are pricey, you may want to consider getting instant rice or dehydrated foods. Instant rice, for example, you don't really need to heat it. You can put it into a metal container, put some water in there, hike around for a couple hours. It'll be ready to go when you finally stop for a break. But the dehydrated foods and instant rice, they're high caloric foods, lots of calories, because if you're bugging out, you're hiking a lot, you need the extra energy to keep going. Now let's talk about water. Obviously, you need water for your trip, but talk about heavy. Water is going to be the worst things that weighs you down. You want to be able to carry water only where you can be able to drink while you're hiking. What's best if you can carry some kind of water filter. We like the Katadyne. I'm not saying that's the only one, but that one takes literally mud puddles and makes the freshest water as possible. And I'll put a link below for this. You need to consider some kind of water filter or a way to get water while you're going. And I don't always necessarily recommend the tablets that you put in the water. If there's biological stuff in that water, the tablet will work just fine. But if there's actual chemicals in the water or radiation in the water, things like that, those tablets will do nothing for you. You need to have some kind of water filter, purposely the one you can actually pump somehow to push it through, because the drip methods sometimes take a while. And if you're bugging out, sometimes you don't have a lot of time to sit around and let that happen. So there's 5 things you need to look at and seriously consider in a bug out bag. I'm sure there's things you've thought of too. Put them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.